There it is. Blessed
Yeah.
be, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for another edition of Witch Times Television with Goddess Rhonda and Goddess Starr. I'm Goddess Rhonda, and of course, we have, as always, our lovely Goddess Starr.
Thank you. So do you. And the God, look at the gorgeous goddess Rhonda sitting there.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. So, as
It's good to
always,
be good here. It's good to be here.
it is. It's always good to be here. And I don't know if it's just me, but are you already feeling the magic and energy of the full moon?
Yes.
I am already
Yes.
feeling it. Like I feel like I'm surrounded with it, even though we've got a couple days left. Because in my tradition, it's 3 days before and 3 days after, and so I
So
can
is
already
mine too,
feel
actually.
it.
Let me tell you, girl. So is mine. It's just that sometimes I go all loopy, and to me, I think it's 3 days before and 3 days after. But I always feel like the three middle ones right there are always like the most powerful to me.
Yeah. Well, hey, my attitude is work it when you need to.
Yep.
You got to work it when you need to work it. So, as
Yeah.
always, before we begin, we like to cast a circle of protection around us. If Goddess Ronda's lighter, it's going to work today.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna.
Give me a second. It's almost ready. Okay, there we go. All hail, our lords and ladies of the East, our brothers and sisters, our brother and patron, the sacred element of air, namaste. Divine honor, love, joy, peace, and respect to thee. We charge thee, please cause a barrier of protection to all of our walls that face your direction, from corner to corner and end to end. Let peace and protection reign herein. Thank you. So it is. So let it be.
So it is, and so will it be. Ooh, I'm hearing some back sound. All hail our lords and ladies of the South, my brothers and sisters, my brother and patron, the sacred element of fire. Namaste. Divine honor, love, joy, peace, and respect to thee. I charge you, please cause a barrier of protection through all of our walls that face your direction, from corner to corner and end to end. Let peace and protection reign therein. Thank you, and so it is. So mote it be.
So it is. So let it be. All hail, our lords and ladies of the West, our brothers and sisters. Our sister and patron, the sacred element of water, namaste. Divine honor, love, joy, peace, and respect to thee. We charge thee, please cause a barrier of protection through all of our walls that face your direction, from corner to corner and end to end. Let peace and protection reign herein. Thank you. So it is. So mote it be.
So it is, and so mote it be. All hail, our lords and ladies of the North, my brothers and sisters, my sister and patron, the sacred element of earth. Namaste. Divine honor, love, joy, peace, and respect to thee. I charge thee, please cause a barrier of protection through all of our walls that face your direction, from corner to corner and end to end. Let peace and protection reign herein. Thank you, and so it is, so mote it be.
So it is. So mote it be. And we now bring down the divine white light from the sacred source of all well being and fill all of our spaces with peace and protection always. So it is, so mote it be, and thank you.
So it is, and so mote it be. Thank you.
Hey, that's a fat atomy you got there. Is that new?
No, it's the same one.
Really? It's the
See?
same one you use all the time?
Yeah. Maybe he's just looking fatter today. Uh oh.
You go, girl.
Okay, I'm not gonna say anything to that one.
It's beautiful. I guess
You know what it is? It's that time of year,
Hey, there you go. It
right?
is very beautiful though. I don't
I know, right?
remember
Yeah,
seeing
it's
it,
the
but it's
same one.
gorgeous.
Yeah, isn't he? He's beautiful.
Beautiful.
My friend from Ireland gave him to me.
Oh, it's just gorgeous.
Yeah, yeah. I fell in love with him the minute she gave it to him. Yeah, I was like, hey.
All righty. So we are starting off tonight with our review of the new Charmed. Now, if you haven't watched it yet, be aware there's going to be spoilers because we're going to be reviewing it and
Yeah.
talking about it. And so, what did you think, Goddess? I personally,
Uh-huh.
I have to, you know how I was before I had an attitude problem about it. before it even aired and got its stars, like, just watch it, just watch it. And I'm like, I don't know, because I was just already, I just said, they're going to screw it up and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then finally I said, okay, I'm going to look at it as if it's a whole new show that just happens to have the same name of the show I used to watch, and it's going to be different. And it was different, and it's really good. It's really good. What did you think?
Actually, I think it's very good, but I'm gonna not say anything about the first one yet, but I love the second one even more.
Me
So
too.
yeah, I like the fact that it gets better in the sense that if I love the second one even more, now I'm anxious to see the third one, just like I began with the first set of Charmed, when whatever. So I am looking forward to it, and I loved it.
You know what I loved, and I made notes about the second one, but you know what I loved a lot about it was that they have engaged logic, technology, science, everything. What I really loved last week, they're just finding out that they're witches. They don't know jack about casting spells or anything. But when they had to go up against that demon, what is the oldest one's name? The girl that I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know any names yet. I honestly, I mean, are you hearing that noise? It's just, or is it just me? I'm hearing like a fuzzy noise, but maybe it's just me. Yeah, I don't know the names yet, so I'll get there.
We'll get to the names, but the girl that found out that she wasn't raised with the two sisters, and she came in, and they had to fight that demon. They didn't know what to do, and she was a scientist. She doesn't know how to cast a spell. She's like, well, I don't know about spells, but we could use some bicarbonate of soda and pour that on him, and that should ground it out, and it worked. And I'm like, now that is a resourceful witch. She doesn't even know she's really a witch yet, and she's just like, I don't know what to do with these herbs and stuff like that, but I do know what to do with this bicarbonate of soda. So we're just going to go ahead and use this. I love that. I love that.
Yeah. And you know what else I loved about her is a lot of the dead language, like Latin. She knows Latin, and she speaks it, and she's the one that kind of guides them, as even though she's the new addition to the family in a sense. Well, she's not really. She's the eldest one, but you know what I mean.
Right.
New addition to these two. She is the one that leads with the Latin and knows what to say, and they follow along and things like that. And but it's really well done in the sense of, yeah, I like that they're using everything. They know they're not saying like they're taking their phones and using it. They're using everything because they're saying it's witches today. It's happening right now, this 2018. So everything that we have at our disposal, we're utilizing, and that's what they're doing. Yeah. And that's what witches do. They adapt to what their environment is and what's around them. And that's awesome. So I'm really glad for it. And I'm excited about what I can't wait for the next show. So just knowing that I am anticipating what's next and things like that made me happy. Because I remember when you were speaking about when you were speaking about it last week, I told you sounded like you bravely said the words of, yes, we're gonna watch the show and we're gonna keep our minds open. But you can hear behind her words, and she's going, yeah, right. It's gonna be all screwed up, and they're gonna do this, and you can hear it in her voice. So I said, forget all that, let it go, and just watch it. And I'm glad that's what I did for myself too. I was kind of talking to you and talking to myself at the same time. You know what I mean? And yeah, I actually enjoyed it. Yes, it's not perfect. Nothing ever is.
Nothing is perfect.
But you know what? If something, and I always say this, and this goes for movies too and everything else, I think we all have to stop being critics. We're not, movies and entertainment on TV and stuff initially was meant all about entertaining the human being in front of them. And if it makes you laugh, cry, engage you in some form or another, then it's entertaining you. It's doing its job.
Exactly.
So for everyone to pick it apart and say the special effects or the different things, I'm like, get over yourselves. Because if any one of you guys can do better, you'd be the one hired to do it. Okay. Right. So think of it from, the point of view of, is it entertaining you? Is it adding up to what, and forget, yes, there was an initial Charm and this is a reboot of it, but they're doing a really wonderful job at what it is now. And we kind of know where, in some ways, who's good and who's bad, but still, we're kind of playing with it, and we're going with it from there, because in some ways they're going to change up things because they want to give you a reboot. These are three new sisters, and they now meeting up, and they're going from there. So I can't wait. I'm anticipating so much, and I want so much for them, you know. Um, and I don't remember all of what the first show is. So come on, give me some memory boosters here.
Well, I don't remember everything from the first show. I remember the thing I remember the most was she vanquished a demon with a box of baking soda.
Right,
I was like, that is freaking brilliant. And you know what else I like? I like that the white lighter is not like some hot, handyman pretending to be a handyman. This guy is like straight up business. Harry, he's a little nerdy. He's not bad looking, but he's straight up business. There is no flirting. There's like, well, I'm not here to flirt with you. I'm here to guide you, and we're just going to do things this way. He's like, no joke. He has very little sense of humor, but I really thought that I loved his character. I love the old character too, but I love that this time he's a man about business, and he really is there to guide them and help them. He's not hiding who he is. He's like, look, I'm here to guide you, so say my name, Harry. I like that they were calling him
Harry.
What did they decide to name him? The girl who married Prince Harry. What was her name?
Meghan Markle.
Yeah, that's it. They're going to call him Meghan Markles. But I really love that. And I also love that I made some notes here about this one because I wasn't, I should have made notes when I watched the last one.
I know, me too, but I didn't.
I liked also that they're teaching also some very valuable lessons, especially if you are a new witch, because we're talking about, after we discuss this, we're going to talk about how witchcraft is rising. From what I've read, witchcraft is rising. I just wish they would quit saying that the religion of witchcraft is rising, since witchcraft is not a religion. That's just kind of drives me a little nuts. You can be an atheist witch and a Christian witch and a Buddhist witch, but they don't know what they're talking about, so that's okay. But anyway, getting back to what I liked was the lessons. They gave the lesson of the Ouija board. As always, people play with Ouija boards and get in a lot of trouble with them. And so here they are, and because, yes, spirits, they sent a valuable message. There are plenty of tricksters out there that are more than happy to say that they're your Aunt Mary or your Grandpa Joe or your Uncle Jim or whatever, and they will pretend they know who you are, and they will trick you. And this
way, get into your head. That's why.
Get into your head, or maybe they've even been observing you for a while. You don't know how long they've been watching you. And so I think it was a great message to show how easy it is for a newbie to get tricked. And if it wasn't for the psychic empath sister, they would have been screwed royally.
Yeah.
Screwed royally. And so I thought that was an excellent message, to be very careful, especially if you're new. Stay away from the spirit boards and don't just trust everybody. Anyone can say they can be anybody. They could say they're Cleopatra. And it could just be someone who's out to play games with you or worse, do something to attack you or something.
Yeah, that's the part about the Ouija board, though. When you are using any type of portal, especially the Ouija board, many things can deceive you. Entities older than time, the dead, the spirits, all of them, they can deceive you because that's the board. That's the way that they do that. So for them to, it's not just newbie, because I've known many a seasoned witch who thinks they know best, get fooled by the Ouija board. So it's a valuable lesson that I think in general they were trying to teach, and saying you can't just trust whatever it is. And if you sense certain things and you're doubting certain things, pay attention to your senses. Because despite the fact that I think she was the youngest, right? The empath.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if she's the youngest, but and to have a voice as well, assert what you really want to say, because she held back a few things, and in the meantime, she was right about her feelings and what like you said, the empath part, and she was like, wait a minute, why am I not sensing who you are and whatever it is? Even if you remember the old Charmed, even when the grandmother came back from the aunt as a spirit, you still sensed
You
her
still
certain
sense
things.
her.
Right, because you can sense certain things about spirits that are dead, and this was not a spirit because entities as well comes through the Ouija board,
Absolutely.
and that's something that a lot of people don't understand. They really believe it's only the dead and good spirits or whatever it is. And when it's a portal like the Ouija board, everything comes through that Ouija board. So that could be entities older than time, or your grandmother for real, and they are deceptive, they're tricksters, and they will do what they have to do to get you
And they
to
will
believe
do
them,
it. And that's
so
also part of that message is also don't just believe your eyes. You have psychic gifts. Feel that energy. I know what my mother's energy feels like. I know what my father's energy feels like. I know who I'm talking to by what their energy is because I recognize it immediately. I grew up with it. I know what that is. And so feel their energy. Use your psychic senses. Don't just believe what you see. But I thought that was really an excellent, excellent, excellent message that they sent in about the Ouija boards. Now, I have 2 Ouija boards, and I'll be honest with you, they don't work for me. And I think it's because a great deal of my practice is clearing out entities and demons and things from people's houses. So when I go to the Ouija board, they're like, oh, what do you think? We're a bunch of idiots, Rhonda? You think we're really going to come there so that you can send us out and vanquish us? So they just it's always crickets when I try. Nobody wants to come to me through the Ouija board. But that's okay because my relatives and my loved ones that come to me, I know who they are, and I don't need a Ouija board to talk to them. They just come to me. So anyway, you want to be careful with that. I enjoyed that aspect of it. Let's see. And I did want to ask you guys in the chat room, because I was curious, if you were playing with a Ouija board or whatever it is, whatever you do for your spiritual divination, and a loved one or someone who said they were a loved one from the past said, oh, I'm here to help you and don't trust so-and-so who happens to be your mentor or someone who you do magic with or your coven or whatever. Who would you believe? Because I was watching both. I kind of knew, like, okay, I know this
something's right. Yeah.
The mother. It's probably not the mother. But she was also pretty convincing.
Yeah.
I had to say, well, maybe it is the mother. She seems really like she's really their mother. And so I'm like, who would I trust if I was in that situation? Would I trust Harry or would I trust this woman who said she was my mother? And I'm just curious, off the tops of your head, who do you think you would have trusted?
I think a lot of people would have trusted the parent, because the face is familiar, and that's why the demon chose something that was familiar to them, that meant so much to them, because that way he could have a chance of
Yes.
And
plus they were very vulnerable emotionally.
Yes.
They had just lost their mother and would have killed to have her back.
Yep.
So
and even the elder sister, who did not know her very well, after a while, when she was at first being wary of it, you were like, okay, we understand her part. But then even she was taken in at the end because she wanted it so much to be the mom and to hear so much why did she leave her behind, that she began to try to believe it. She really was hoping.
She was
that,
hoping.
because it's what they really want to hope in their own hearts, that mom can come back.
Right.
And so that little vein of hope is what gave the demon the chance to do what he did, for them to trust him so much.
And I think the other good thing that they pointed out to pay attention if you're dealing with spirits is, what if that spirit actually behaving in the manner of the person that you knew? Now, I have to tell you, if a spirit came through and she was my mother, and she was all just loving and nurturing and playing with that's not my mother. First thing my mother would have said, when are you going to clean up this place? How many times have I told you, you need to do this and you need to clean that? And what about this and what about that? And are you eating right? And blah, blah. I would have gotten an immediate lecture. A lecture would have come. If a spirit came up and started lecturing, I'd say, hi, Mom. I'm going to you because here you are lecturing me. Whereas if someone's like, oh, Rhonda, I just missed you. It's like, this is not my mother. my mother. She'd have been all over me about everything that I have not done yet and need to do, and my responsibilities and everything else, because she was that type of person. My mother was a parent. She wasn't a friend.
Yeah.
And she was like, you do this, and this. So I would know, the difference. But I think that was really a good message to put out there, because, again, we do have people, like you said, there are seasoned people too. But, what really I find that the people that most get in trouble are the teenagers.
Yeah.
And so if you're just, if someone says, hey, it's Uncle Bob, then ask yourself, is this what Uncle Bob would say to me? Or is this how Uncle Bob would behave towards me? If Uncle Bob was a mean and horrible, crazy drunk, and he comes up to me and he's like, hi, it's Uncle Bob. It's so good to see you. Then that ain't Uncle Bob.
Yeah. It's kind of like it's kind of like when the sister who was truly believing, when she said, you and I were always the one that was closer. She knew instantly that that was not her mom.
Right.
Because she said, my mom did not pick favorites. We were all equal, she treated us all equally. So the minute she said something as if she was choosing sides, she was like, you're not my mom. That's not, my mom would not do that,
Right.
We all have a grain of truth as to what we know that person is really like. The place that they can trick you is if you did not know the person that well, and you want your great grandmother and they passed away before you were born, or something like that, and so they can trick you more there because you're flying blind. So you're going straight on hope of what you hope that person's personality would be like. So they will find whatever means that they can to trick you, and they do with the Ouija board. That's just reality. So and you have to be careful with it, and there are ways of working with the Ouija, and people can show you how to work with them in a proper manner so that you are not so easily fooled by them and things like that. So you just have to be be aware at all times when dealing. Be very, very aware when you're dealing with the Ouija board.
And Harry, the white lighter, he brought up a really excellent point when he said that the demons and the bad spirits will use emotional manipulation.
There you go.
I know people, they are strong, they are spiritually powerful, and they are bad-ass witches. And they have been brought down by the emotional manipulation of someone.
Yep, they have. It's the truth.
I think that's probably, emotional manipulation is an extremely strong magic. It is extremely strong. Requires no tools. All it requires is to be the ability to read a person and know what to say to press their buttons to get what you want. And so I thought that was an because I know so many strong, powerful, good people that are badass, and they have been brought low by emotional manipulation of someone. So I thought, all in all, not only did the show entertain me from a witch standpoint and from a teacher standpoint, I really liked the lessons that they came up with. And if they're like, oh, we need a mirror and everybody's looking for a mirror, I'll be honest, I would not have thought to use my phone if the camera.
I know, right?
I wouldn't have thought of that. Today's kids would.
Yeah, the younger people would. The younger people
would. Purse or a compact, anything. They're just like, oh, I'll just use my phone. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah, but this is what I mean. The younger people are using what they know. They use it all the time for their faces and different things. We would never think to pull our phones off at our age out and use it as a mirror. It wouldn't occur to us because we're like, it's our phone, and we go looking for a mirror. But them, the younger people, who this is what they do all day long. They're on their phone. Everything is their phone. They use it for everything. So yeah, they would instantly think of that, and that's amazing. That's awesome. They're using what's there in their present time. They're using all of those things. So that was quick. That was quick and awesome.
That was awesome. They're showing that even though they're not well versed in witchcraft yet, they are still resourceful. They use what they have. And I thought that was really an excellent message. So I would say overall, like I can't already am looking forward. They leave you with a little cliffhanger at the end.
Yes.
And so I'm already looking forward to the next one. So we give it 2 thumbs up.
Yeah. And I one of the other things too that I liked is that um, they allowed them to, I don't know, kind of you know how with the first set of Charmed and everything with the three sisters, Prue, Piper, and all of them, it's almost like if they wanted them to learn a bit first before they became together, before the demons started coming at them. This one kind of shoved them out there right away and said, "You don't
Right.
have a choice. They're coming at you anyways because they know that you guys got together somehow." Even
Right.
though you haven't the minute they kind of got together in the same presence of each other, their powers got activated somehow in the world, and the demons already know, so they're not being given a choice to kind of think about it for too long, because good, bad, or indifferent, they're coming for them.
Right.
So they are being shoved out there right away with sink or swim. You don't have the time, like how I think in the first set of Charms, they really had them learning how to be that better witch, and I'm sure they're gonna do that now too. But they've got them front and center, right out, pushing at it already, like
Hmm.
full on fighting this demon, and other than the one thing they're being is we got to do this together. Other than that, they've got nothing else. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was good. So let's take a look into our
Chat
chat
room and see
room
what they all come
to
back.
see what you guys have to say about this. Looks like we've got a bunch of
Yeah.
comments here. Hey, goddesses. Hey, Judy. Hey, Queen Serena. I hope I said that correctly. And Peggy and Debbie and Monica and Satsuki and May Moon. May I please just call you Goddess Moon so that this way I will not constantly mangle your name. Okay, so let's see what we got here. We've got everyone saying hello.
Everyone.
Let's see. Okay, so our dear Goddess Moon, we're calling her, had to leave because I haven't seen the second episode yet, but I love the first one and feel they're moving in the right direction. Just wish they had a woman directing and writing piece. Okay, so she stepped out because we were going to spoil it for her, and that's okay. Okay, Goddess Judy is happy to supply us with the names. Macy is the eldest. Maggie and Mel are the sisters. And she says, it inspired me to wish/want to have the power of telekinesis, stopping time, etc. But the Ouija board moment with their mom said, don't trust him. As Monica calls that spiritual fishing. That's really true. That's such a modern term and technology, but that's basically what it is. And she goes on to say, if you want legal protection, call it a religion. No thanks, Ouija board. I avoided living people today, not messing with whatever you got. I would trust my gut, a parent, my mom more so. And so Goddess Monica says, stubborn ass me, Uncle so-and-so, why WTF did you not put my straw in my Capri Sun when I was 4? You have to ask like a question like that, see if they know. Don't trust people. We're still on old grudges. Don't trust people in my life now. You say, hold up, we still hold on to old grudges. And it's true. The people that get in the most trouble, I believe, are teenagers and dabblers. Because, nowadays you can pull up a spell on the internet. You don't know who wrote that spell. You don't even know if it's accurate. You don't know anything.
Right.
Most of them don't even give you the prep work to clean the tools or anything. It's just, okay, take a tablespoon of this and a spoon of that and put it around a candle and make your wish, and then you're finished. And, most people don't know. Let's see, we've also got Goddess Faduma, who says, marry me. I hope I said your name correctly.
Yes.
And Goddess Debbie says, I honestly enjoyed the first episode. I wonder, though, how did the Book of Shadows get to them? Now I have to go back into my memory, but I might have to go back and watch the first one.
Again. I think, wasn't it, if I remember correctly, wasn't it Harry that told them where it was, or something like that? That said, you have a book of shadows or something. I can't remember. It was something like where it either flew. Oh my goodness.
I'm trying to remember. I can't remember Someone, maybe Harry told them. You know what? Now that I think about it, I think I seem to remember Harry coming out with it. I could
something
be
like that, right?
But I think Harry came out with it. I'm pretty sure. Because I can't also remember why the girl is in the hospital, the girl who's in the coma. I don't remember why she's in the hospital either. And I know they must have mentioned it last week.
Or seen something, right?
I don't remember. So anyway.
Or we would have seen, or we must have seen when she got hurt for her to be in the hospital.
I think so, but you know, I'm going to go back and rewatch the first one. And this way I'll know what's going on because I just don't remember. Oh, wait. So Goddess Judy is saying, yes, Harry got them. Harry handed them the book. So he must have had.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Okay. So that's good. At least we know where that we finished that mystery. So all in all, I thought that was a really, really great show. And we also want to talk about what TV shows did you watch growing up that inspired you? Now, of course, one of my favorite top shows, I have 3 top shows, I had to think of it. One was Bewitched, of course, because that was played back when I was a kid. The second one was I Dream of Jeannie. I love that she could just blink her eyes and anything happened that she wanted. And then there was a show a long time ago called Isis, and this woman, she was like, remember that?
Isis, yes.
Oh, she'd say, "Oh, mighty Isis, Isis, Isis."
Oh, mighty Isis, yes. I remember Isis. That.
Yeah. And it wasn't on long, but I loved
it. Yeah.
That show. I loved that show.
I gotta go back and buy that on Amazon. I gotta get that because that was pretty cool. The fact that they were doing that whole thing with Almighty Isis and the fact that we remembered what she became when she said the words first and she became Isis. And she'll be walking around like a regular everyday person. And then when she saw something that she had to go and rescue or someone or whatever situation, she said, Almighty Isis, and she became Isis and helped. It was like the hero, you know what I mean? It was awesome. I don't know if you guys know that show, but it was an awesome show.
It was a long time ago. That show's from the 70s, I think.
Late 70s, right?
Say, Almighty Isis, Isis, Isis. She would say it 3 times, and she would turn. All of a sudden, she was covered in gold, and she was ready.
And she'd be like Isis, and she came out and she helped the person. Oh, we got to get that. I have to get that. Now I'm gonna go back to the old things, and I'm gonna look up on Amazon and buy it.
I will. They have that on Amazon. I'm gonna check to see if they do.
Yeah, because I would love to get that now because now that I thought about it, because that when you think of it, some of those shows from back then were pretty much ahead of its time. You know that?
Yes, they really were.
What is it again? Mighty Isis. What was the name of the show?
It was called Isis.
Really? I thought it was something else. Okay.
I would love for them to do a reboot of that one so that people associate Isis with the goddess instead of those nightmarish people.
The Secrets of Isis. The Secrets of Isis season. There she is, but I'm not seeing like it just called The Secrets. It was from 1975.
Wow.
And it says The Secrets of Isis season 1. But that sounds like a behind the scenes thing of Isis. It doesn't sound like the actual show. But that actress she's on the front of it. I'm gonna put in Almighty Isis and see because I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, I think you have to put in Almighty Isis.
Almighty.
Yes, it was just called Isis.
The Secrets of Isis, the complete series. There we go. The Secrets of Isis is what it's called. Oh my God, they want so much money for it.
How much is it?
$134.89.
Wow. Okay, so I think I'll probably look for it on like Netflix or YouTube.
Yeah.
But that was.
Oh, wait a minute. There are comics with it, with her, the same outfit and everything she's wearing. I didn't know there were comic books about it. The Mighty Isis, 1977, and all the different comics of it. Wow, I didn't know this. But it's called The Secrets of Isis.
And there she is.
Yeah, right? I never knew. I forgot her name. The young lady who played her.
Joanne Cameron, it says here.
Okay. The Secrets of Isis. That's so awesome. But somebody's selling it. The cheapest one is $93.10. Oh boy.
Well,
That's
you
too
know what?
expensive.
That's expensive, but I
Yeah.
remember the joy that I got from that show.
Yeah, it was really amazing, that show. And the fact that it was in the 70s, the 70s really produced a lot of female shows that was amazing. Um yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness. But hey, it would be nice to have that. And Shazam came out around the same time too.
I remember that. I used to watch that too.
Yeah, but I preferred ISIS. And it's so funny that we know it. And when I typed in Almighty ISIS, then it came up with the whole show and all the different series of it. I think they were women empowering back then because it was Wonder Woman, Mighty ISIS, Charlie's Angels, um, and a few others back then.
Well, the good news is if you go on YouTube, they actually have the series on here.
Oh, they do? Oh, I'm going to have to watch it.
Yes, it says that they, of course, they're saying it's the whole series. We'd have to look, but it's got 22 videos for it. So there, that solves that problem. Yay! That was easy.
All right.
All righty. So let's see. So let's what we got here. Some people love. Oh my goodness! I remember. I used to watch Scooby Doo. Well, I loved Scooby Doo, and I loved. Remember the one? It was Dark Shadows. It was a soap opera about vampires. And that's another one that's like from a zillion years ago. That's also from the 70s, Dark Shadows.
Yeah, Dark Shadows was kind of cool.
That
And
was
there
a good one.
What was the other one I have here? Isn't that the one that they did the remake with Johnny Depp?
Yes, but that sucked. That was really bad. I love Johnny Depp, and I couldn't even watch the whole thing because they just botched it so badly. And the Munsters, Goddess Judy says
Yes,
the
the
Munsters.
Monsters was pretty good. The Monsters was pretty good. I like that.
The Addams Family, absolutely.
Yes.
That was really good.
Yes.
And of course, Harry Potter. Of course, but Harry Potter came along. I think I was an adult when Harry Potter came along. So, but I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, of course.
Yeah.
And let's see. Goddess Monica says the sword of Shannara. I don't think I
never
saw
heard of that one. Me either. I never heard of that one.
And also Belgariad. I'll have to look that up.
Me too. And Merlin Trilogy. I'd never heard of those. Huh, that's
I would
interesting.
like to take a look at those. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So they had some pretty, when you think about it, they had some very, if you want to call it that, they were more along the spiritual side of kind of empowering with the goddesses and the gods, and the paranormal side or the occult side back then. They don't have it as much. Well, they do in a way with supernatural and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of it was, I don't know, the fact that they came up with it back then and they went after the gods and goddesses kind of a thing to bring it forward for us. I think that's kind of cool.
I think that's really cool. And Goddess Judy is bringing up the Flying Nun. Oh my goodness!
Oh my gosh,
I forgot.
yes, that was
Sally
awesome.
Field.
Yes,
that was really good.
Awesome. Yeah. And it was like Dominica, Nika. Remember that song that she used to be? Oh my God, there was a song that she used to do. Oh, am I imagining that?
No, you know what you're thinking of, Mary Poppins.
Dominica. No. This was not Mary Poppins. It was it was Dominica, Nika. Oh dear, I don't remember. It was something like that, but I had associated with Flying Nun. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Oh, that's okay. Let's see what else they've got. The Worst Witch. This is from Debbie Spenceley. Now, I didn't know there was an original Worst Witch because I had watched the new one. I think it's on Netflix. I was watching, and it's actually a really cute show about little 9-year-old witches just starting.
All right, okay. So they're
telling
so
cute. And Judy says, yes, the Dominic song is from The Flying Nun.
Okay, good. Because I
So
know
you're
I
not
used to, and
crazy.
I used to, okay, good. Because I was just like, I know I remember that song and all of that. And the fact that I'm remembering it now, I don't remember it from before, but I'm suddenly remembering it as we all kind of juggling the memory with all those things. But it's kind of uniquely beautiful that they came up with things that were very woman empowering. If you look at it, most of
Yes.
it was all female with females doing that. Um,
Yes.
and that's kind of cool. Even with the monsters and all of them, the women were the domineering ones. The women were the matriarch and like leading the families and all of it. Except for Bewitch. But the rest of it, you know what I mean? They were kind of trying to empower women, but at the same time, they had like
Mhm.
a thumb on top of them at the same time. Like with Genie, Genie, what's his name? Was like a thumb on top of her the whole time. Bewitched, her husband. I don't know. It was this thing. It was like they were trying to empower women, but at the same time, kind of take it back. I don't know.
You know what? Like in Bewitched, Samantha, the female character, the wife character, was a queen. She was a witch queen who gave up her throne to marry Darren, who was really a control freak. He was a
That's what
control
I
freak
mean. And like a thumb
chauvinist.
on top of them all.
So it's like they were trying to empower us, but still give the men the power
Yeah,
too, because at that time, the men had to have the power.
right. I think it was like we want to show you we can give you the power, but at the same time, you do need someone
Right. You still need a man anyway.
to control you because you might get out of control. It was just like a back thumb compliment.
It was. Although I have to tell you, there's no way I'd be giving up my queen status for
I
some
know, right? You
for
better
some
join me and
dude.
better make sure that you want to be part of my queendom.
Yeah,
Screw
exactly.
that.
You could be my consort, but I'm not giving up my
I
I'm
love
not
that.
giving up my
Be my
queendom for
consort.
you.
I
Sorry.
know. And it's like he did not understand how much she gave up for him and then confined her to a lot of restrictions and everything. Mm.
Exactly. But I did love Endora. They're all talking about Endora, moms.
Yes,
She
yes,
was
yes.
the
I
one that
loved her.
she
Oh my
would
goodness,
just
I loved her.
she was really great. So I enjoyed those shows did inspire me a lot, towards which I felt more comfortable watching those shows than
Yeah,
I did the other one. It just seemed a very natural thing for me to watch. So
yeah, yeah.
I did
I think
enjoy
I think
that.
the reason that we all loved Endora is because she actually had no filter, and so she said what she had to say. No forgiveness, no nothing. Well, and she had the attitude of like, well, it had to be said, you know.
You know what?
Or
Endora,
when she would do it, yeah, she just did it. Whatever the magics, whatever, and then she was, well, we are the witches, and she just kind of like, well, we are who we are. Why should we change?
Endora actually reminds me of my mother. My mother was Endora. And she's like, this is the way it's going to be. And if you don't like it, I'll just turn you into a toad.
Yes,
And then we'll see
exactly.
if you listen to me. That was a lot like my mom.
Yeah, and I
So,
loved Endora for that because she just said she had no filter and she just was like, well, I don't understand why we have to give excuses. We are the Queen Witches. We are. Why are we giving excuses for who we are? She called it for what it was. I love that, and she just like had, and she did question her daughter, like, why are you being this when you are a Queen Witch? You are who
right.
you are. For this person who never seemed to understand through his entire marriage to her what she gave up for him, and
No,
in the
no
real world, that's
appreciation.
how. Yeah, it's just like, have you no clue who you've got, and treat her with the respect and the queendom that she is, and he just, oh well.
Oh, well, what are you going to do, right? And
Yeah.
unfortunately, we do see that again. We see the people that are most powerful that are
Yes,
brought
yes.
down through emotional manipulation.
Yep. Uh-huh. And you see it daily in our lives with different people and different families and different
Yes, you
things, and you
do.
you kind of wonder, you can see the steely strength in that person's character and how someone takes it and dumbs it down, or even they dumbing down who they are and what they how intelligent they are because they have to make it seem like if they're less than,
Right.
so that their partner does not get upset, and feel undermined or something, and it's kind of sad.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. It's just that, yeah, I'm reading some of what Goddess Debbie says and things like that. It made me laugh at some of the things she said. But anyways, yeah, the thing about Endora is that she was a strong witch.
She was a very strong witch.
I think that's what we all loved about her.
She made no apologies. She made no apologies for being a witch. She didn't worry about the law of three or anything. If she wanted to do something and you got in her way, she just rolled right over you.
Right. I remember, wasn't there a movie? I forgot the name of the movie where, what's his name? Was the brother? I forgot his name, and they were the sister fell in love with someone who was human, and because she fell in love and she cried tears, she gave up all of what she was as a witch.
Oh,
It's like every time.
Bell, Book, and Candle.
Yes, Bell, Book, and Candle. I think every time they've done shows, witches are either tricksters or evil. So even when they were tricksters and lovable, we had to still control them because the humans have to control these witches and control their powers and things like that. Genie had to be controlled and bottled, all the different things. And essentially that's what they've done through time. Even now they try to do it. Only differences are women are now saying, if you can't handle it, I don't need you. And a lot of them are walking away on their own and standing on their own 2 feet and saying, well, it's a lot easier without you. I don't have to have a filter and all those different things. And I think it's a shame that even through time, it's still people trying to still do the thumb control with everything where witches are concerned, or women in general. But I don't think there was any other show that was similar, right? You saw some of that, right?
I'm looking at some of the things because Goddess Monica brought up Dr. Bombay. Remember Dr. Bombay in Bewitched? Like if you were sick, he was the one that came.
Yes, I completely forgot. Yes, I'm going Dr. Bombay. Dr. Bombay, who was that? And then you said I remember now. Yes. Oh my goodness, yeah.
And Goddess Judy brings up Samantha's father. I loved her father. He was a real womanizer.
He was so endearing.
But he was, I liked him. But you know what? You're right. It seems like now that you're like bringing that up, it does seem like the message of also one of the messages of the shows of that day was powerful women have to be controlled.
Yes.
That really, I didn't even think about it, but it's true. Jeannie had to be in a bottle,
And it's always by some so-called mild-mannered man.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a mild-mannered man that had to put the button control on them because they're so powerful that they're out of control. Yes, you guys have all the power and you've got this, but we need to control you because it will get too much out of control. Because that's what I got from it when I was younger, and I was like, I used to feel so badly for Jeannie. Like, why can't you just let her be free?
Yeah, I know. Let her out of the freaking bottle.
And all she wanted was to be able to have the will to love Darren, whatever his name was. I think it was Darren, right? Love him and be his wife. That's all she wanted. But he was always either embarrassed by her looks or of how beautiful she looked or whatever it was, or that she was not wearing enough clothing, or he was always trying to control what she can and cannot do.
Right. She did.
Because and I think part of it has always been the reason they needed to be controlled is because normal people will not be able to understand and accept it.
Right. Well, with that said, okay, so we talked about Charmed, we talked about the TV shows that we found inspiring. as kids. But now let's talk about, because I keep seeing it more and more, and I think that TV shows have a lot to do with it, where you keep seeing that witchcraft is the fastest growing religion in the country. And I've been seeing that for some years now. And I'm wondering, are the television shows that people watch, is this why they're turning towards witchcraft? Or are these just all of a sudden more natural witches, or witches who have, in their soul, have been witches, and now suddenly they're just coming forth, maybe they're being called or whatever? I'm thinking, because I keep hearing that there's more and more witches out there, but in my circle, I don't see any big growth in numbers. So I'm just wondering, where are they? What are they practicing? And what inspired them? And I do think a lot of it are these TV shows, because people watch these TV shows and say, oh, being a witch is powerful and you can manifest these things. And yes, you can. But just like any other thing, you still have issues. You still have problems. If you look at every witchcraft show out there, there were major issues going on despite the powerful men and women that were in those shows. There was major drama going on in their personal life or in their business life or with their friends or family that they always had to step in and fix. So I'm just wondering, are people turning to this because they feel it's going to give them a sense of power over their issues, or are they truly being called from their core into witchcraft? What do you think?
I think actually it's a combination of both, or it might be a bit of both. Um, because I think a lot of people see movies or TV shows with witches and stuff involved, and they go, "Oh, that sounds neat," and it becomes like a fad. It's not their religion, it's not their anything, they're not their calling. It's just something that, oh man, it's cool, and it feels like it's empowering, and so they kind of run with it. So I think that that's one aspect of it. And yet, I do believe that there are some in the core that it's their calling. So they go with it. But those people that are in their core, a lot of them seem to hide it a lot, or they live in areas that, like the Bible Belt or whatever it is, and they're not able to come out per se, but they practice indoors or closet like.
Right.
So you don't really hear from them so much. But a lot of the ones that I think the majority are not really witches. I think they're just wannabes or fadding or what's it called, fadding, or using it as a fad, because it's being a witch is a lot of work. It is part of who we are, just like
Yes,
being a Christian or a Catholic or whatever it is. It's a lot of hard work, and it's consistently sticking with who you are and what you're being drawn to. It's living, to me, in a daily manner as a witch, which I know a lot of people that call themselves witches that are witches when it comes to rituals part-time. They'll go through the sabbats, the SBATs, and they will go through the motions and everything, but they don't get that spiritual part of it for them, because it's not really, they're just going through the motions in a way, if you know what I mean.
Well, see, and that's where I think that a lot of when the media says this, I also think that they are confusing a lot of witchcraft with wizardry. There are wizards that there is no spiritual connection. There was a show, what was I watching, and I couldn't stand it. It was called The Magicians or something like that.
I remember you talking about that. Yes.
And it really bugged me. I said, there's no talk of, there's no gods, there's no goddesses, there's no elements. Where is the spirituality? And I remember being angry. And
I remember you telling me that.
And I remember you saying, well, maybe they're wizards, and there are people they're watching and they're saying this is great, and we as the spiritualists are like, WTF? Where's the gods and goddesses? Where are the elements? Where's the spirituality in this? You guys feel nothing. All you're after is power.
Right.
And that to me is not something that that I associate
with witchcraft.
With witchcraft. I'm sure there are plenty of witches out there that seek power, But this is more something different.
Yeah. And I think that's the part that they're not differentiating between. When they see it as the way the people are dressing, or they people are saying that they're witches, and they um are so-called practicing, and we when we look at them and how they handle their lives and their different things, I call them fair weather witches, because they don't necessarily practice.
It's
And I,
not a
I think,
lifestyle.
right, that's what I was trying to say, because a lot of them that say that they're witches, if you really watch what they do, say, and how their behavior, their mannerisms, and all of it, it's not their lifestyle. It's not part of who they are. But yet they will show up for the sabbats and esbats, and they'll go through the motions. I think witches, or people forget, being a witch means that you live, you breathe, you eat it. I mean, Christians got one up on us, or the Catholics have got one up on us. They live, breathe, and seethe out. It just oozes out of them. And if that's not the way your craft is practiced, then what are you doing? You're going through the motions.
Right.
For us, we live, breathe, eat. We don't even think about it, because it is part of who we
It's part
are.
of who we are.
So if we're not thinking about it because it's part of who we are, we just go with it. It just is. If you have to think so hard about what can you do to be a witch or be part of being a witch, then this is not your lifestyle. Because it's not something that you sit down and decide, and kind of go through the motions and buy all the tools and everything, and oh, I am a witch because I've got all the tools and the different things. It's not like that.
Right.
And they would say that there's a rise in whatever. And yes, there probably is to people, because as the world gets smaller, in the sense of, like, then we can see all the videos of the different wrongs and rights going on in the world more, because people are putting it out now in front of people's faces. The world has gotten smaller in that sense. So in doing that, you're seeing more of the people who are, it's not their lifestyle, but they live it. They dress the part. So they must be a witch. They look the part, so they must be a
Right.
witch. But witches look in so many ways that you can't just say that. It's not a dress. It's a lifestyle. It's a who they are. I,
Exactly.
I I know some witches that you will not know they're a witch until they remove their top shirt or whatever, and you see, oh, they have a pentagram. You would not have known, because that's not what they're not there to show their job where they are. That's who they are. you know um so maybe the rise is just the world getting smaller and showing us that there are many of them practicing in different ways. um
Or it's a rise not necessarily in witchcraft, it's a rise of more magical workings where
right,
people are doing magic, but they're not necessarily witches.
right.
There's a
And another
difference.
thing, if you look at witches from the very beginning, we don't speak about the spells that we're doing
Mm-mm.
publicly like that. And more you're seeing witches, so-called witches, saying that they're doing this spell or they're cursing this whatever publicly. It's not something we normally do, to publicize it in any manner, or what we're going to do. We don't, it's not, um, witches, one of the things is they don't show their hand before it's dealt. And people are talking about it more and saying what they're doing with the hand and showing what they're dealing. It doesn't sound like what witches normally does. But then again, who are we to say, right? Maybe the
Well, this
modern
is,
witches just do whatever they feel like doing in that sense. I have no idea.
or like I said, they're not really witches. There are so many different types of magical practitioners. I just want them to stop lumping everything under witchcraft.
Yeah,
It's not everybody who practices magic. Is it? Some people are magicians. They're wizards. They have different things that they do, and would die if you called them witches. Like, we're not a witch, I'm a magician,
yeah,
or I'm this or I'm that, and they lump everything. So I do. I think that more people are trying to use magic to improve their life. Probably. Are they actually studying and practicing? What they call it's practicing
yeah,
witchcraft. You practice it every day. You're practicing everything you do. You have a practice. You have a ritual when you get up in the morning before you go to bed. all the stuff that you do all day long. I think we have people who are attempting to practice magic to get, a job or whatever it is that they want, but they are not, in my eyes, actually practicing witchcraft, which is a lifestyle. And
Right.
I just get sick of them trying to lump it. Everything is always lumped under witchcraft, and that's not the way it is.
Well, they're either doing it as they would say lump it under voodoo, or they because I think all of it is just a misunderstanding, and they have no concept of the differences or of the fact that whatever it is. So they'll say, oh, they're all doing voodoo, or they're all doing witchcraft, or they're all doing, and you're sitting there going, you just have to kind of take it for what it is, and see it as they're being, in a way, babes in the woods. They're just saying things that they have no clue about, and they're not taking the time to actually investigate and really know what it's all about. Um, what are you gonna do? It's I think you're right. They're not taking the time to know the differences and to understand everything, and in doing that, they will always lump it together until they actually take the time to do so.
Until they figure things out and actually do take the time and understand what it is that they are embarking on.
Yeah.
And one of the things that, like when you said that there are the witches that they're saying, oh, I'm going to hex so and so, I'm going to put a curse on so and so, I'm going to do this, and they say it, I think
Publicly.
those types of witches, that goes back to what we were saying about emotional manipulation. They're just trying to scare you, is basically what they're doing. It's like, oh, I'm going to hex you, and this is what's going to happen, and blah, blah, blah. And to a non-practicing witch who would just scoff and say, really? Well, bring it. Where there are people out there that get scared. Well, so-and-so told me they're going to curse me. They said they're going to do this to me, and they're going to do that, and they're going to do this. And I would say to them, if they were going to do those things, wouldn't they have done them already? I mean, they've been telling you this for a year now. I have people that look so-and-so for years. They're saying they're going to do this to me. They're doing that to me, and blah, 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 blah. And these people have allowed their fear of what these people are just saying they're going to do to literally overcome them. And I'm like, they've been threatening this for how long? And they've done nothing, and your life hasn't changed. They are just trying to scare you. And they are using, because fear is one hell of a spell. If you can inject fear and intimidation into someone, you've got them, because they are just like, I don't know what to do, and blah, blah, blah. Now, if someone walks up to me or Goddess Starr or puts a, we're going to, we hate you, we're going to hex you, my attitude is expect return fire, and you better have your damn bulletproof vest on, because I'm coming at you. I'm going to come at you, and you're going to regret what you've done. We will not. Oh yeah, you're already dead. As soon as you said the words that you're coming at me, you're already gone. You're already gone, because I'm going to come at you even harder. Before your shit even gets to me, I'm going to knock your ass down. But there are other people that you can say that to. Oh, I'm going to hex you, and I'm going to do this to you, and I'm going to do that to you. And people get really scared, and they let that fear control them. And it's the fear that weakens them. It weakens their magic. It weakens their power, because it means they don't have the confidence required to do witchcraft. Witchcraft takes confidence. You can't go into it all wimpy, like, well, I hope this money spell's going to work. Maybe it'll work. I'm going to do everything it says to do. I hope it works, but I really do, but I don't know. If you're going in there with that attitude, guess what? It's not going to work. You have to practice with confidence. You have to know exactly what you're going about and believe you're going to get it. And so if you're allowing someone to use fear, which I again will say is probably one of the worst hexes they can put on you, is injecting you with fear and intimidation and threats that they actually probably have no intentions of following up on, or have no clue as to what they were doing in the first place, so they wouldn't be announcing it to everybody. They are controlling you with fear. And I believe that fear is one of the hardest and worst hexes if you allow that into your life. You have to go about your business with confidence. And that's where actually taking the time to understand witchcraft, to learn about it, to engage with the elements, to really feel their consciousness and the deities and everybody else. I already know I've got so many people who've got my back. It's like, go ahead, bring it. You probably won't even get to me because there's so many people standing between me and you. So, but people will allow. Don't you believe that fear and intimidation is one hell of a curse, Goddess Starr?
Absolutely. That's part of that's that's the core of the spell. That's the core of a lot of the curses or hexes or whatever it is that people are throwing at you. The fear that they build inside of you. That's all part of it. That's why they're telling you. So I believe
Exactly.
that wholeheartedly.
Absolutely. And so they will use that against you. They will use your fear. And it's as though someone comes at you and it's like, well, I'm going to hex you and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Immediately, like, whatever. Because if you were really a witch, you wouldn't even be telling me what you're doing. And so you can take your spell and you can shove it up your butt. I don't really care what you do with it. But I have no time for you. I have stuff to do. So it's off, basically.
Yeah.
And don't let people intimidate you that way. But it's still, I do think it can also be, personally, I'm glad that people are taking an interest in magic because I do believe we all have the inherent gifts to improve our lives, improve our health, improve our finances, that there are those that would not like you to know about that and they want to keep all the power to themselves. I just also think, though, it can be dangerous to have all of these dabblers, going into it. Some of them might start it, they might open up doors and portals, decide they don't like it anymore. And then if the doors and portals are open, they could bring in all kinds of things going on. My hope is that they are getting the proper training. That's all I ask, is just take the time to understand what it is that you're doing. So, Goddess Starr, tell us, what do we have happening in the chat room?
Okay. Let's see. I think you had stopped at the Scooby-Doo, right? Scooby-Doo, there was an episode
So we were talking about
that was in the band. Does
Scooby-Doo, Dr. Bombay.
Okay.
I watched Hallmark's The Good Witch, and it was just too rated G. It was too little. It was just too.
Okay.
Too.
I'm going to pick up where Goddess Monica says honoring Mother Earth is more important now than we are that we are poisoning her surface, and that's absolutely truth. And then Goddess J. Christine said, unfortunately, it's a trend and not knowledge. And she's absolutely correct. It's a trend in the fact that that's what they're doing, and they don't have the knowledge with it, but they're just thinking that, okay, I will just say that I am, or, I will say whatever it is I'm doing. And that's correct, Other people are making a hell of a lot of money off of sheeple.
How about that?
This is so true.
How about that?
And then Goddess Monica says, science has proven simple witch truths. Plants hear us, animals have souls and spirits. Absolutely truthful. And then Goddess Debbie said, I think I wonder with today's issues that the fantasy of magic is calling to them. They want to get away from today's problems. That, I believe, is highly true.
I believe that's highly true, too.
Yeah, because it's just like they can't deal with what's in front of them, so they find other ways and means to go around it. And if that means escaping with witchcraft in some way or whatever that they think that they can, they will. But a lot of them are saying pretty much in the chat room that they think it's a trend that's just happening in general. And then Goddess Monica asked, can you then be a witch who doesn't keep sabbats? I honestly, I think for you to be a witch in the sense, I could be wrong. It's just that the sabbats are part of the seasons of this earth. It is what we have gone through, the cycles of the harvest, the seasons of the spirits of the year. Even when we come to, say, October right now, and the veil is getting thin and all the different things, all of those are part of the seasons and the sabbats. So I don't know. I honestly cannot say. For me personally, I have to observe the sabbats because it's part of what the seasons are, and honoring the different parts of it, and observing it for what it is. The different gods and goddesses that are associated with it and things like that. I mean, I can't say for a person personally, solitary or otherwise, if you're not a witch because of that. I cannot say that, and I don't think any of us has the right to say that. The thing is that I think in with you within your own heart and who you are, um, it has again. Um, I'm not Wiccan. I'm a witch. Um, and I know to a lot of people they don't understand the differences. And I'll tell you something. The word Wiccan just simply means, but unfortunately, in the English language in the United States, they don't understand that the word means simply more than one witch. That's all Wiccan means. But in the sense of how America takes it, they think of Wiccan as being a part of the religion of Wicca. Again, because they're not defining the words for what they are.
Right.
When I say Wiccan, I mean more than one witch. When you say Wiccan, it might mean the religion. You know what I mean? I am simply a witch, nothing more. I don't have any other term to call myself. I'm not Wiccan because I'm not more than one witch. I'm one witch, a witcha or a witche, which is the word that originally WICCE and WICCA. I am the E because I'm female, nothing more. And that's where people kind of mix it up a bit, not knowing that this whole thing. If you look on Facebook, I am Wiccan, I am this, and I'm like, oh, so you more than one witches? I did not know this, but maybe who knows? I'm not here to say because they don't know what the definitions of the actual words are. They just going like everybody else. As somebody mentioned sheeple before, they all, they all kind of follow words that they have no idea
Right.
what sheeple means, and they're not willing. If I always say to people, before you define yourself, understand what the words mean. Really investigate what the words mean. Don't listen to what the other person told you because they themselves don't even know. And we have seen
Right.
it. I have seen elders in covens, priestesses, priests, and they're calling themselves Wiccans, and they don't know the definition of it. So it does not mean because they're an elder or whatever that they do know what it means. You look it up yourself. Go after the definitions of words before you define yourself as such. But if you are thinking in that sense, even if you're solitary, going back, if you're thinking of traditions, witches have always honored the Sabbats, whatever name they want to call it. They might just say it's a seasonal time or whatever it is. They've done something to honor those Sabbats or those Esbats, or and if you're talking about the Esbats in the terms of the goddesses with the moons and stuff like that, and basically it's majority of people see it as the moons will be for the goddesses, which is the 13 moons or the 12 moons, however you want to say it, and then you have the Sabbats, which is the honoring of the god. I don't know. I mean, to each his own kind of a thing. For me personally, I see myself, I have to honor that because it is part of us respecting what we are as witches in the sense of the seasons, the change in the weather. It affects our harvest and on the solstices and the different things. It all plays an effect, just like how we celebrate the moon. The moon affects each month, whether we want to admit that or not. It affects. And people have been saying that before they even had a definition of what it means. They just said, oh, when it's full moon, many things happen. It controls. So ignoring that aspect of it just means that you're ignoring certain parts of being who you are. And again, I don't know everything. I'm not the all knowing. This is just me thinking out loud of those things. So however you define or work it out for yourself, I think that's just personal. All right. What do you think, Goddess?
I would never tell anybody how to practice their witchcraft or spirituality. I
Yeah.
would never say, "Oh, you have to do this and you have to do that." I'm not going to do that. It's a very individual. It's a very personal thing. For some people, it's enough on a Sabbat just to send a mental thing for respect or just light a little candle or something. Me personally, I like big rituals. I like going through the whole thing because that's just something that makes me feel, it feeds me and it gives
Yeah.
me a sense of strength. For ceremony gives me strength when I do it. I love ceremony. And so it makes me feel better. Plus it helps me to show respect, and to honor and say thank you. But I'm not going to judge someone who doesn't do that. I'm not going to
Yeah.
do that. That's their thing.
And
That's
also,
what they want to do.
yeah, and also don't forget when a lot of you are alone, when we say celebrating your seasons and the harvest and the sabbats and all of that, you can do this alone. However
I
way you do
do.
it, whether you do it every day, or whether you do it on the Sabbats only, or whether you that's just you and how you do it. No one can tell you differently with that.
You know what?
Um,
I do public
so
ceremony, but I also, after I do I do my personal ceremony,
private one, yeah.
my private
That's
stuff.
all that matters. That's all that matters. Your definition of how you practice. That's the thing. We are basically saying a witch should learn to do the art of practicing their craft. However you define or practice that, that is entirely up to you.
It's up to you.
Um, a goddess Fatuma said, how about shamans? Are they witches? See, I'll tell you something about shamans. Witches are shamans too. The word shaman is just means one who walks between the worlds. Okay, that's a shaman, and that means everybody who is a practicing witch
Right.
or a light worker or empath, and they all walk between the worlds. The definition of shaman is not defined because of Native Americans or different things like that. And Native Americans refuses, they're not witches. They
And
will
do
not allow
not
you to
call
call
them
them witches.
shamans. Don't
Yes.
call them They are They're magical practitioners, are called medicine people. Do not call them shamans. They take great offense. I don't even know whose idea it was. Say, oh, Native American shamans, because I live in New Mexico. There is a huge population in the Southwest of Native Americans. Do not call them shamans. They resent it. Do not call them
Them
witches,
witches,
because
they resent it.
in their spirituality, witches are the people who do the bad stuff,
Yes, they're
whereas the
evil.
medicine
Yeah,
people. So
yeah.
really, it's really up to everybody's definition. If you were to say, Goddess Rhonda, what is your spirituality? I would tell you, I'm a universalist. I follow everybody's religion. I believe in them. I respect everyone's religion. I've already been everything in all my other lifetimes. So if I take something from this and something from this and something from this and make a big stew out of it, I have no problem with that, because I practice everything. And I honor all the gods and goddesses, the Greeks, the Romans, the Egyptian ones, the Sumerian ones, all of them I have a relationship with. So I'm more of a universalist because I believe that these are our brothers and sisters. But still, I'm also a straight up witch. It is my lifestyle. It's what I practice. But I'm not going to judge someone based on what they're doing, what they feel is best for them. That's none of my business.
Yeah.
It's none of my
And also,
business.
you have to see witchcraft is a very, very personal
Very
journey.
personal.
It's a very personal journey. So this is the reason why I don't believe that we have the right to say what someone is and isn't
Not at
doing, or the
all.
different things. You know, we don't have that right. But again, like I said, Native Americans take offense to all of those things, and to them, witches are evil. So they don't don't
You know,
connect the dots to
everybody,
them with that.
there are different labels. Some people, because some people say witchcraft or witch has a bad connotation, they'll call themselves a shaman or some other kind of a word that they like to use. But I feel that it's an individual thing. However you want to term yourself, rock on with it. It's all, this is your soul. This is what you're supposed to be doing. This is what the path that you have been called to walk on might not be the same as mine. Rock on and be your authentic self. And don't let anybody tell you how you need to be doing your practice. If someone wants to
Yeah,
make a suggestion or say, hey, if you want to elevate yourself, you could read this book or you could do that. Okay, that's fine. If you want to give me some helpful information I might want to look into, that's fine. But don't tell me this is what I need to be doing.
yeah. I
I'm
think
doing
that is
what's best
I
for
think
me.
Blaze Girl said, did Europeans come up with the term shaman? I think both the I'm not exactly sure if it was the Europeans or the Americans, um, but somebody did, and the natives do not like it. Um, if you say they are witches or that they're witch doctors or whatever, they will be highly offended and
Highly
upset.
offended.
Um, as a matter of fact, they are more Christian. A lot of them from way back became Christians, so which is why to them being termed a witch or shaman to them is considered more on the evil side. So it's not something that they will define, but that's because the word shaman, if you look it up again, I kind of work with definitions of what things are and not what people tell me they are. If you tell me certain thing, I'll go, okay, no problem. But you may think I'm taking your word for it, but I'm going to go research the hell out of it. so I can know what I'm talking about, because I don't do sheeple. I just never was that person. I would like to know, define it myself, so I'm not just carrying on the terms with people, because we've talked about that a lot. But watchtowers and different things that I've heard people say and do when they're doing ritual, and I've explained it many many a times. But both Goddess Rhonda and I have heard people use the words watchtower in their call coding, and they have no idea what they're doing, but because they're following what they were taught, you know.
Right.
Anyways,
It's
um,
true.
and then Goddess Christine said, "Oh, Goddess Paduma said, thank you, goddesses." J. Christine said, "Gotta go to sleep. Glad I saw you, goddesses, on live. Blessings, good night. Blessings and good night to you too, Goddess Christine."
You as well. Have
Um,
beautiful dreams.
yeah. And Goddess Blaze Girl said, "Is it wrong for a witch to not believe in the 3 by 3 rule? Like if you curse someone without cause, then will it come back on you? Some witches don't believe in this rule." What do you think, Goddess? I'm gonna have you answer that first, and then
I'll
I'll
answer that
say it.
question. I'll be honest with you. I believe that the law of three and all of that stuff is based on your conscience, because I believe that karma and retribution is self-induced. And let me tell you why I feel that way. I have known so many narcissists and psychos and sociopaths that go about life doing everything that they want with no retribution and no consequences. Why? Because in their souls, they've done nothing wrong. They have no guilty conscience. So they just go ahead and they can do anything they want, decimate people's lives, and do whatever they want, and nothing happens to them because they don't feel, in fact, they feel entitled. And don't forget, emotions play a huge role in witchcraft. Intention, emotions. If in their heart of hearts, they believe completely justified in what they are doing and what they get and all that, you'll find that nothing happens to them. They're rich, they're wealthy, they have all these things going on for them. Meanwhile, you'll find a nice person who did something what they feel wrong once, and they feel so consumed with guilt that their lives take a turn for the worse because their conscience is guilty, because they didn't really want to do it, or it was against what they wanted to do in the first place. Maybe they acted in a moment of anger, and then suddenly it's like, oh my goodness, I hexed that person. Now it's going to come back to me, and blah, 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 blah. And then they start working themselves up about it. And before you know it, they have brought all this doom and gloom back
onto themselves.
onto themselves. So it all depends really on, this is my opinion, guys. Everyone else is entitled to theirs,
It's
but I
different,
am
yeah.
on decades of observation. I'm sure everyone here knows somebody who is a nightmare, of a horrible person who's cold and uncaring and unfeeling, and yet they rocket to the top. They can do no wrong. Everything they touch turns to gold. No problem. Because
Yep.
in their mind, they're justified, and the emotion that they're projecting out is, I deserve all this money. I deserve this, or I deserve this life. And sorry I had to roll over people to get it, but that was my right and I deserve it. And so they're just fine. There is no consequence that will come to them because their soul feels justified. Whereas you can
Yep.
take a nice person who might get angry because her boyfriend looked at somebody and she gets mad and does something to do, and then she starts to feel guilty about it inside, like, I shouldn't have done that, I'm sorry. And then the guilt takes over. And
Yeah.
I believe that karma and retribution is self-induced. We can actually learn something from magic with looking at the sociopaths and the narcissists, because they feel so justified in what their behavior and what they're going to get out of it. They almost always get exactly what they want because they feel they deserve it. They've got that intention, and the emotion is, this is mine because I deserve it.
Yep.
And if you get in my way and I have to roll over you in order to get what I need, that's justified. It was justified
So
for
be
me.
it.
So be
So be
it.
it.
And you will find nothing happens to that person. Look who's we've got sitting in the White House. Need I say more? So I believe, it is my opinion, I don't particularly believe in the law of three. I believe you get out what your soul puts out. What you feel that you're entitled to is what you get. And I believe that's why a lot of us witches and spiritualists we might not be rich because most of our attention is on helping everybody else, boosting everybody else up, or teaching them how to do their lives. And so we're not putting a significant amount of effort and power into our own lives. We're mainly taking all our withdrawals and handing it out. And so we have to get back into our own stuff and try and fix our lives, because by the time I finished helping everybody, my life is in chaos. Now I have to fix it. Whereas there are those who will cut a path with uncaring as to who they hurt or anything, as long as they get what they want and they feel justified. And you'll find that they're rich, they're wealthy, they have everything they want, all these things, and they get away with it because in their mind, they have cast that spell. I am deserving of this. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I don't believe in the law of three. If that's what it's like, if I put something out, because I also know a lot of good people. I mean, a lot of good people that will give you the
shirt off their back.
Shirt off their back and the last dollar in their wallet, and they are suffering miserably from all kinds of poverty and despair and things like that because they feel undeserving and they feel like they have to just keep doing and doing for other people. And so since they feel undeserving, they're not getting the things that they want. So I believe it's all in here, and I do not believe in the law of three as far as you get what you put out there, because I know, like I said, I know plenty of people, including myself, including Goddess Starr, who put a hell of a lot out there, and yet we still have to turn around and fix our lives. And the same way, I know people who couldn't give a rat's ass about you, and if you were starving, you had nothing, and they are climbing to the top with no problem, steadily, because in their minds they deserve it, and they don't really care about you. It's all about them. So that's my answer. What's your answer, Goddess Starr?
You just about nailed every darn thing that I would have said on the head and hammered it home. But essentially, I'm backing that because I honestly don't believe in it either. And again, it's a mindset. If you believe, even though you verbalize that you don't believe in it, but yet inside of you, you're still holding on to some of that. Again, I believe that's part of our old religious upbringing. Most of us were raised in Christianity for so many years, most of our lives, that when we accept who we are as a witch, it's very hard for us to get rid of some of that innate sources of core information. And if the rest of the world, like Goddess Rhonda said, if they feel that the words that I think it is entitlement, if they feel that they are entitled to any of these things, then what are we discussing? There's nothing to talk about. I deserve this. So there's, however I get to it, if you're in my way, move out of my way, because I'll move you out of the way and I'll get what I want.
Yes.
I'm entitled to that. It's as simple as that. And that's the bottom line. And you would find that, again, like Goddess Rhonda said, nothing will harm them because they believed in that entitlement. They believed they had the right to get it. They believed that why would anybody stop me, or why would anything harm me when I deserve that? Right. I'm entitled to it. It's an entitlement. I mean, if you look around you on a daily basis, entitlement is what you see back and forth all the time. And the ones who feel like they're entitled, what do you think is going on right now in this country? The ones who feel entitled have just about everything at their disposal.
Yeah.
And the ones who feel guilty and do not are on the poorer end, on the poverty end, or considered the minority, or the whatever.
Exactly.
That's the world as is. So I do not believe in that law of three. I believe and many things that Goddess Rhonda said about practicing every aspect of everything, and it's all a mix-up, or she's a universalist. I see it simply as she's been here many a lifetime. She's been many races, genders, many different countries, parts of around the world. She have been all those religions. So she's not just mixing it up. She's taking back what belongs to her from all the time. She's using what has been all of her many lifetimes. She's not borrowing. She's not stealing. She's not just mixing it up. She's taking what belongs to her. She is entitled to all of those things and practice all of it. Whether it's a Celtic Isle or the tribe from wherever in New Guinea. I don't care where it is. We have been here many a lifetime. We've lived
Many.
around parts of the world. We've been many genders. Who is who are anyone out there to say we are taking from whatever and we are entitled when you're not entitled to this? I'm sorry. You can live in this skin right now and say that that's all you are. And if that's what you still believing, then your witch mind is this small.
That's right.
But mine is not. And most people are not. And if you have to start believing that no one can tell you, that's why you would see people of different races and skin color practicing certain types of traditions of witchcraft and doing different things, because that's what's calling them from the inside, not what's from the outside, but from what they call from whatever past lifetime. No one dictates and tells you what it's your entitlement to what is part of who you are. You're just accepting it for what it is. You're entitled to do that.
Right.
Just saying. You have to think about things in a logical sense. And it's the reason I love witchcraft for what it is. It's so logical. And if you really think in a logical mindset with all of it, you'll find your way.
You absolutely
And
will.
I don't have to say anything, and neither does Goddess Rhonda. You'll find your own way. Right?
Absolutely. All righty. Well, with that said, we're going to go ahead and bring our show
Yes.
to a close. As always, we are so grateful for you and your presence and you teaching us. You teach us stuff too. You know,
A lot, yeah.
know that. We learned so much from you. And we're just grateful that you're on this journey with us. And, you know, we've got the full moon. So let's take advantage of that awesome energy this week. And
Yeah.
I wish you a
Wednesday.
beautiful week.
Woo.
Right, Goddess Starr?
Yes, yes. I want you guys a blessed, blessed full moon coming up. Enjoy all the wonderful energies of it. Whatever. I didn't even look to see what it's in as yet, the aspect that it's going to be going through with the full moon this time. But you know, a pleasure as always, and we'll miss you guys.
Absolutely. But we will see you next week.
Yes.
So with that said, merry meet,
Merry meet,
part,
merry part,
and merry
and
meet
merry
again.
meet again.
Mwah.
Mwah. Love you guys.
Love you guys. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.